fighters that Crawford fought were handicapped. You know what I'm saying? Look, Errol Spence just announced about his cardiac, his eye and stuff. Jose Benavidez, when he fought him, he had a...
He meant to say cataract. He said cardiac.
Fighters that Crawford fought were handicapped. You know what I'm saying? Look, Errol Spence just announced about his cardiac, his eye and stuff. Jose Benavidez, when he fought him, he had a shot leg. When he and then who's the other fighter that he faced that they tried to make it a big thing and he was injured too? Kell Brook with his eye. So every fighter that Crawford has faced throughout the 147 division, whether it looks good on paper, they've been injured.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, what you just heard was the voice of former unified lightweight world champion, now reigning WBO junior welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is a very good fighter, to say the least. He is very versatile. He has power. He's athletic. He's explosive. And I have to take my hat and tip my hat to Teofimo Lopez because in the biggest fights of his career, he showed up and he showed out. Teofimo Lopez is 19 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 13 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. Many people are going to view Teofimo Lopez as being outside his mind, right? He's crazy with this. Calling out undefeated 3-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, and the reigning unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely acknowledged and recognized as the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Bud Crawford, who has 40 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 36 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Teofimo Lopez is aggressively calling out Terence Crawford. This is nothing new. Teofimo Lopez aggressively called out 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko. He finally got the fight with a limited amount of fights at 23 years of age, 1 title fight, and guess what? He dominated Vasily Lomachenko, who was the Matrix and top 3 pound-for-pound viewed best fighters in the world. He dominated Lomachenko. He then called out, immediately following that, which made him unified lightweight champion, he called out the undisputed junior welterweight British superstar boxer, Josh Taylor, who won the Muhammad Ali trophy, was undisputed, cleaned out his division, beat the best fighters at 140. He didn't get that fight right away. But when he did get the fight, Josh Taylor was still undefeated. He dominated Josh Taylor. And it sounds so bizarre when Teofimo Lopez called out Josh Taylor because he's a 135-pounder, right? After he beat Lomachenko. It's like Josh Taylor's a big 140-pounder, 5'10", 71-inch arm reach. Comes in about 160 pounds. He's a big 140-pounder who's undefeated. Josh Taylor even swept Teofimo Lopez under the rug. He said, man, he need to go fight Devin Haney, be undisputed officially at 135, then come talk to me. He ain't ready yet. So Teofimo Lopez, instead of fighting Devin Haney, as he should have, he went and fought his International Boxing Federation mandatory challenger, better known as the IBF, Australian star boxer George Kambosos. And Teofimo Lopez has a knack for fighting to the level of his competition. Doesn't seem to be very motivated by the Kambosos fight. Went into the Kambosos fight, got dropped in the fight, and then lost, shockingly, to George Kambosos in his own backyard in Madison Square Garden in New York. And then there seemed to be a lot of confusion with Teofimo Lopez. As he then fought Sandor Martin. He stated that he had an esophagus injury. The weight cut at 135 was too much for him. He just simply could not, make the weight comfortably anymore. And he wasn't motivated. He moves up to 140. He has a fight at 140 to get acclimated after the Kambosos loss. And he wins the fight. Didn't look spectacular. He just didn't seem to look spectacular. But again, keep in mind, as I said, he fights to the level of his competition, right? So he fights against Pedro Campa. He gets a 7th round knockout in the 10-round fight, but he didn't look himself. Then he really didn't look himself. December 2022, he fights Sandor Martin, a southpaw, elusive, high boxing ring IQ, not a lot of power, but he shocked the world, beating 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar, Hall of Fame boxer, Mikey Garcia. He fights Sandor Martin, gets dropped twice, and wins a controversial split decision over Sandor Martin. Many people, including myself, thought Sandor Martin deserved to win. Then him and his father, Teofimo Lopez Sr., manager, trainer, they started to call out Josh Taylor. And I'm like, well, Josh Taylor's a bigger, better version of Sandor Martin. Southpaw, more power, undefeated. They called out Josh Taylor. It seemed to be a long shot. He's not getting Josh Taylor. He ends up landing a Josh Taylor fight. Many people, including myself, picked against Teofimo Lopez to fight Josh Taylor. He's going to lose. After the way he looked against Sandor Martin, who was a southpaw, he goes in a fight with Josh Taylor and dominates Josh Taylor. Shocks the world, not because he won, how he won. Dominated the fight against Josh Taylor, right? And now he's aggressively calling out Terence Crawford. And it's falling on a lot of deaf ears. People are not really paying attention and giving much credence to what he's saying because it just seems like a long shot. Because Terence Crawford just had the performance of his career. July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, when he took on and defeated his biggest rival, his nemesis, in former unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion who was top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, in Earl the True Spence Jr. It was a fight that was highly anticipated, the biggest anticipated fight in a decade. On paper, it was seen to be a 50-50 fight. It was a pick'em. And Terence Crawford goes in the fight and absolutely dominates Errol Spence. Not even close. Drops him in the 2nd round, twice in the 7th round, stops him in the 9th round, battles him in between it. So because it just seems like there's so many levels above and Teofimo fights at 140, it just don't seem realistic. But I'm here to tell you, it's more realistic. It's very realistic. And it's a fight that I believe Terence Crawford should entertain. Based off of Teofimo Lopez's status, Teofimo Lopez is, in my opinion, a massive fight for Terence Crawford. It's along the same level as him fighting undefeated IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who I consider a phenom in Jaron Bucenis. Now, people are going to look at it from a competitive standpoint and say it's not the same thing. I think Jaron Bucenis is better than Teofimo Lopez, but Teofimo Lopez has a bigger name than Jaron Bucenis, a bigger commercial name. And Teofimo Lopez has fought 3 times already at 140. So him going to 147 is not far-fetched. Terence Crawford went to 147, immediately fought for a world title against Jeff Horn, stopped him, and went on to stop everybody at 147. So is it truly far-fetched to think about Teofimo Lopez versus Terence Crawford? No, it's not. It's not as far-fetched as you may think on the surface. Immediately when you think about this fight, does it sound realistic? No, but it really is. Teofimo Lopez can go to 147 right now. The problem is Terence Crawford is viewed as the best fighter, in my opinion, in the world. So when you say go from 140 to fight the best fighter in the world, it seems far-fetched. Well, Floyd Mayweather fought Juan Manuel Marquez, and Manny Pacquiao was the fight that everybody wanted to see, and he started his career at 108 pounds. It's not as far-fetched as people may think. Now, the fans would call for and say Terence Crawford would be ducking Jaron Boots Ennis if he took a fight with Teofimo Lopez. But as far as a commercial fight, it's a bigger fight. Teofimo Lopez is far more accomplished in the sport of boxing than Jaron Boots Ennis. He has beat better opposition on paper than Jaron Boots Ennis as far as notoriable names. Would Jaron Boots Ennis beat those names? Absolutely. Would Jaron Ennis be picked to beat Teofimo Lopez? Absolutely. Is Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford a 50-50 fight? Absolutely. Jaron Ennis is 31 wins, no loss, no draw, 28 wins by way of knockout. He is 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach, 26 years of age, and switched from southpaw to orthodox. He's a nightmare. He's a problem. So, but just commercial-wise, and Teofimo Lopez is talking up this fight. I think this is a fight Terence Crawford should entertain. If he's asking for it, give it to him. As well as I feel like Terence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis would be a great fight. But with that said, right? Errol Spence just revealed that he's had another eye surgery, which is going to take 6 to 8 weeks of recovery period. Then he's going to need another 8 weeks of training camp. So the rematch with Errol Spence seems to be pushed way back. Terence Crawford needs a fight. Where can he fight? He's familiar with top-ranked, legendary promoter, CEO Bob Arum, and ESPN. Now, people are going to say, well, what about Jaron Boots Ennis? But what platform would he fight Jaron Boots Ennis on? We know the premier boxing champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman and the PBC are going to Amazon. But what's the deal with Jaron Boots Ennis, who is had an exclusive right deal with Showtime President Sports Steven Espinosa, and Showtime decided to get out the business of the sport of boxing after 37 years. Now, I'm not saying that he should skip over Jaron Ennis and fight Teofimo Lopez, but I'm saying that this fight is not as far-fetched as many people deem it to be. And I know people look at what Teofimo Lopez is saying, and they're saying, well, Teofimo Lopez is tripping. Is he? Because what he did was he broke down the opponents of Terence Crawford and the mishaps that they were allegedly going through when the time he fought them. Is he wrong? Kell Brook wasn't the same guy. Jose Benavidez was going through a leg issue. Now, he said Errol Spence and an eye injury. I don't know that to be the case. He beat Sean Porter. So he's nitpicking, obviously, because he wants to fight Terence Crawford. But he beat Sean Porter. He beat Errol Spence. He beat David Avanesian. He beat, yes, he did beat Kell Brook, and he beat Igis Kavalauskas. Nothing was wrong with Sean Porter, Igis Kavalauskas, Errol Spence. I'm not going to say anything was wrong with Errol Spence because I don't know that to be the case going into the fight. So he has beaten credible names. Amir Khan. So Jeff Horn, he stopped him. So with that said, this would be a big fight, a big commercial fight. So let's listen what Teofimo Lopez had to say once again. And do I think it's as far-fetched as people may make it out to be? No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look, Errol Spence just fight is that Crawford fought. We're handicapped. You know what I'm saying? Look, Errol Spence just announced about his eye and stuff. Jose Benavidez, when he fought him, he had a shot leg. When he and then who's the other fighter that he faced that they try to make it a big thing, and he was injured too? Kell Brook with his eye. So every fighter that Crawford has faced throughout the 147 division, whether it looks good on paper, they've been injured.
Let's see it. I'm all for it, man. We avoid the big fights, entertaining fights, and marquee fights in the sport of boxing. Let's get it. I like Teofimo Lopez's energy. I like that he's calling out Terence Crawford. I like that he stands on his square when it comes to these types of fights. Now, I do think he's strategically not fighting Devin Haney, but he called out Lomachenko. He fought him. He beat him. He called out Josh Taylor. He fought him. He beat him. Everybody thought he was, tripping when he said that. Everybody thought he was crazy when he said that. Proved not to be. So Again, the problem with this is Jerron Boots Ennis. And that's all I got for y'all. What y'all think about this? Do y'all want to see Teofimo Lopez and Terence Crawford? How do y'all think that fight will play out? That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.